Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, the day before St. Patrick's Day. Is that right? Yes, I had to think about that for a second. Well, welcome to class. Let's go ahead and adjust our resistance. Get it to the point where it's the lowest possible it can be on your bike. So it's actually making contact with the wheel, but it's extremely low. Or to put it another way, make sure that your brake is not off the wheel. Have it a little bit on. Let's just pedal nice and easy while we sit up like this. Taking deep breaths and relaxing the upper body. Turning the legs very slowly. Just coming into awareness of our bodies. The weight of our upper body through the spine and into the hips. The weight of our arms pulling down on our shoulders. The feel of the muscles as they engage this really light resistance, going around in circles. As we do all this, we can just release the tension in the belly and relax, feeling it expand and contract with our breath. We can think about the diaphragm pulling and releasing, allowing that breath to come into the lungs. Now we can return to our handlebars. And let's just set our hands onto the bars in a very light manner. Just let the heel of the hand rest on the handlebars. Wiggle your fingers so they're nice and loose. And then just check to make sure your elbows have a slight bend in them and your shoulders are relaxed and not coming up towards the ears. And now we can start to bring our leg speed up a little bit. Keeping the resistance just where it is. If you're using a fixed gear bike, now is a good time to check to make sure that you have at least a little bit of resistance on. Play with it. Take it all the way off and then turn it till you just feel it come on again. That's where we want it. Very light but on. So I'm pedaling here about 85 RPM, something like that. And I'm just really checking in with my body. I'm checking in to make sure my shoulders are relaxed. Tuning into the relationship between my neck and the rest of my spine. Just making sure that I'm relaxed there and not arching. Seeing in my mind's eye the circles of my pedal strokes, noticing which muscles are engaged in different parts of the pedal stroke. And then finally, I'm noticing the warming up feeling starting to happen in the muscles of my legs. Let's ease up our pedal speed a little bit more till we're around 90 or so. And as we get to this point, we may start to notice a little bit of bouncing in the hips. This is a perfect opportunity now to settle that down, or maybe even come back up like I am. This is a way of making sure your hips aren't bouncing because you're sitting on them and your arms aren't involved. It's very hard to bounce in the saddle when you're pedaling like this. So think of how the upper body is decoupled right now from the lower body. You notice that feeling of the arms doing nothing. There's no pulling or twisting or torquing. This is all being driven from the hips down. That's a thought we can keep in our head when we come back to our handlebars. Driven from the hips down. Let's add a little bit more to our pedal stroke now. With cadence, not resistance, but cadence. Come up to now over 90. Folks with a fixed gear spin bike, make sure that you're engaging through the full circle of the pedal stroke. We want to be involved with the pedal stroke all the way around. And you can start that by thinking about scraping mud off the ball of the foot, squeezing backwards. It's a great way to extend the feeling down and then through a little bit in the back. You may notice now the breath is picking up. I just noticed that in myself. It's good. That's what we want. You may feel like you can do this. If you do feel like it's okay, just close your eyes and pay attention to the hands, the elbows, the shoulders, the neck, the spine, the hips on the saddle, the belly breathing. There's so much here to tune into. Feels nice, doesn't it? If we can keep ourselves tuned into the body and the breath, it tends to reduce stressful thoughts. They're constantly bouncing around our head, yeah. And now let's add a few more RPM to our pedal stroke and come up to about 100 RPM. If you have a computer on your bike, just use your computer to get the right cadence. If you don't, just match my leg speed. And while you're at it, take a look at my upper body. See how relaxed that is? One of my favorite things, you may have seen this before, is see if you could hold a glass of champagne in your hand without spilling. That's a good test for how relaxed your upper body is. how decoupled the lower body is from the upper body. Okay, let's slow our legs down, sit up again. Good, I feel warm. That was the goal of all of that, is to bring some warmth and looseness into the muscles. So again, do a quick body scan and just check in with how you're feeling. I feel warmer. My legs feel looser. Back on our handlebars now. Let's bring our leg speed up to around 90 RPM again. And match them to the rhythm of the song that you hear. Just set the foot down on the beat. For the next 15 seconds, we're going to focus on scraping mud off the ball of the foot. We're going to feel what that feels like. Notice where in the muscles of the legs did you feel that. Our goal is to get away from the stomping motion with the quads and start to learn the circle. Start to piece together the different parts of the pedal stroke. All right, time to take it up a notch in terms of our effort. Staying at this rhythm. Let's reach down. Add resistance that feels like it would be hard to hold this 10 minutes. That's a feeling. It's not an amount of resistance that I can tell you. It's a feeling based on your level of fitness, strength in your legs, how your bike works. But if we're doing a level now that we feel like we couldn't hold 10 minutes, our breath is absolutely picking up right now. Maybe we're starting to sweat. And we're starting to feel a little discomfort in the muscles of the legs. It's at this level of work that we can begin to feel the hips pushing us over the top of the pedal stroke. It takes some resistance for us to have to really engage those hips and glutes. So remember, we said adjust the resistance to a level you couldn't hold 10 minutes. That'd be about the limit of your abilities. So if that's true for you, the breath is absolutely picking up now. And the breath is getting pretty strong. Okay, without adjusting your resistance, slow your legs down, and I want you to check in with your breathing. And put a number on it, using a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being completely relaxed, 10 being completely out of breath. And get in the habit of doing that too. It's a way of turning your attention towards the body and towards the workout and away from those things that are stressful out there and out there, future and past. Can you allow your legs to just find the rhythm of the song now, just by hearing and sensing? Coming up, a short but pretty steep hill. We're going to start in the seated position and then finish the last little bit in the standing position. So let's get our hands down to the bars again. I want you to add resistance. That feels like you've just hit a significant hill. Using the rhythm of the song. In cycling, we want to be as smooth as we can possibly be. So now check in with your upper body. Keep that thought of decoupling the upper body from the lower body in mind. And keep that thought of stitching together a full circle pedal stroke in mind. Now we've got the quads, of course. Now we've got the scraping mud. Now we've got the hips. Filling out that circle. You ready to stand? 3, 2, 1. Add more resistance and you can pedal seated. And dial your resistance back to light. And just catch your breath for a second as you keep the legs turning. So we're fully warmed up now. And we're going to start doing some repeated, extremely hard efforts. Do you see my legs are on this rhythm? It's quite slow. So we're going to imagine a very short section of mud, pedaling through mud. Very short, just 20-30 yards. But if you've ever done that on a bike, you know it's really tough. We're going to do that in the seated position. And then we're going to hit a short rise. It's about another 20 yards. 20 yards of mud, 20 yards of steep rise out of the saddle. Take a couple deep breaths. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Add that extra heavy, feels like mud. I'm gonna make mine even heavier. Oh, yeah, this feels like mud. Now you can really feel all the different muscles working here. That's why I love these heavier efforts. Glutes, hips, quads, calves, hamstrings. All right, here comes the standing section. We're going to add even more resistance in 3 and 2 and 1. Add even more. Now raise your body up onto the pedals. Keep your hands light. You can count the rhythm in your head if you'd like to. I always do, sometimes accidentally out loud. Now let's come back to the mud. You're going to reduce your resistance for sure. But still heavy going. One last time standing, crank your resistance. Come on out. All right, dial it all the way back down to light and just turn the legs easily. Gather some water, get your breath. For just a second, let me tell you how I think it should feel when you stand. It should feel like the resistance is so heavy, you can't pedal it seated. And when you're standing, you want that weight going down through the pedals, so you're rather upright with a slight forward bend and your hands are light on the bars. And you're driving through the glutes your body weight, and you'll feel it at the top of the pedal stroke. Just keep that in mind. Now, can you just let your legs find this beat? Breathe deeply as you do it, even close your eyes if it's comfortable for you. Return ourselves to the handlebars. Remember, keep your hands light, fingers loose, shoulders, elbows relaxed. Now we have light resistance on right now, so this is not hard. Can we turn our resistance to the point where it feels like 5 minutes? Would be exceptionally challenging. I love these things. It forces you to really observe how it feels. Really think about the effort and whether you can hold on to it. I'm going to add a little bit more. I may have underdone it there. Well, that's more like it. Remember, we're still relaxed in the upper body. We're still breathing from a relaxed belly, even though we're making pretty good power right now. When I give you the signal, I want you to accelerate your legs up to 100 RPM on this resistance. Yeah, it's going to be very challenging, but it'll be short. So settle yourself, breathe deeply, set your intention in 3, 2, 1. Come up to 100 RPM. Hips are relaxed, no bouncing. Upper body calm. Almost there. Almost there. You can do this. In 3, and 2, and 1. Reduce your resistance. Quick breathing check. Mine's at 8 or 9 on that scale. Just allowing our breath to slow down a bit from that hard exertion. And it's useful to pay attention to it slowing down. That's the heart rate slowing. Let's place our hands on the handlebars if you set up like I did. Keeping our resistance very light. I want us to work on some suppleness and smoothness now. Keeping the resistance very light. Bring your leg speed up to 100 RPM. Just get it as light as you can. And our sole focus at this moment is being smooth and supple with our pedal strokes. And we'll know that's happening. If we're being smooth and supple with the pedal strokes, we'll know that because our hips aren't bouncing. And our upper body's staying nice and calm. That's a sign of beautiful pedaling. That's also a sign that you're stitching together full circles. You're not stabbing at the pedals with the quads like you're going upstairs. You're stitching together. Now, I don't know about you, my legs don't really hurt now. If they do, take some resistance out, because this isn't about causing real discomfort in the muscles of the legs. This is about holding a fast pedal speed smoothly. So much to pay attention to if we only take the time and make the effort. All right, slow your legs down again. Just a moderate breathing right now, for me. Go ahead and drink some water. I recommend doing it even when you're not thirsty, even before you're thirsty. Just drink out of habit. Of course, I'm violating that rule. I never have water with me. I don't know why. I have a water bottle sitting right there. I have no idea why. But don't do as I do. Drink your water. Let's bring ourselves back into a beautiful flat road cycling position. And with our eyes closed, let's just turn our attention to the neck and where it meets the rest of the spine. See if you can sense some softness there. A natural linkage. Now let's turn our attention to the hands on the bars. Where do you feel the weight? How much is it? Maybe wiggle your fingers. We're gonna go for an all-out sprint right now. That'll be 100 RPM. Or more, but not more than 110. With the resistance, it feels like you couldn't hold it 45, 50 seconds. That's how we define a sprint. That's how it will feel. You will remain calm and focused and breathing through it so we can apply power to the pedals smoothly. All right. In 3. In 2. In 1, accelerate the legs, add resistance. Now we're putting out the biggest power of the day right now. And slow your legs and reduce your resistance. Sit up, take a few deep breaths. We have one more sprint to do. And let's remind ourselves that it feels like something we couldn't do 45 or 50 seconds, 100 to 110 RPM, resistance accordingly difficult. And just think about that last one. Think about how long you might have been able to hold that if you absolutely had to. It's all subjective. That's why I never say half turn, full turn, quarter turn. All right, back into the handlebars. Let's get ready for our second sprint. In 3, 2, 1. Accelerate the legs, 100 or slightly above. Big resistance, upper body's calm and smooth. And slow your legs down again, reducing the resistance as you do. I'm just noticing my breathing right now. All right, we got one final hard effort coming up for today. Just let your legs find this rhythm. You got your rhythm. We're going to add resistance. It feels like we couldn't hold it 5 minutes at this pace. Then we're going to add more resistance and stand up on this cadence with even heavier resistance, more like an out of the saddle acceleration. And accelerates, of course, because we shift gears to a harder gear as we stand, so the bike accelerates. The cadence will remain exactly the same. In 3, 2, 1. Add the resistance in. Feels like you couldn't hold it 5 minutes. Perfect opportunity to stitch together that full circle by noticing the muscles and engaging them. Here's the stand in 2 and 1. Crank it up. Now hold the rhythm. All right, come back down to light resistance. Slow the legs. Woo! That was challenging. We are cooling down. Our only goal at this moment is just to let the heart rate slow, so let the breathing slow, and notice that happening as it does. Oh, also, we can have the goal of tuning into our bodies and celebrating our success. That's a good goal. Noticing how good we feel. So we want light resistance now. We want very slow pedal speed. And we want to just allow the body to come back something close to the beginning. You'll notice your breath is slowing, and use that scale that I told you about, 1 to 10. Just notice as your heart rate comes down that scale. Through your breathing, you'll notice that. start to let the legs slow even more. Come to a stop. My sit bones hurt a little bit. Let's rise up. 3 and 9 o'clock with our feet. And just let your heels drop ever so slightly. Feel some stretch in the calves. And now let's bring that back foot forward over the top or underneath if you go backwards, and drop your heels again. Nice ride today. Let's swing a leg over the bike. And just standing next to the bike, holding onto it for support if you'd like. Pull back on an ankle, feeling the stretch in the muscles of the leg. And now let's pull back on the other leg, feeling our quadriceps stretch. And now, let's stretch our hamstrings using the top bar of the bike, or the handlebars of the seat. And now let's switch to the other leg. Well done. Take a little more time to stretch on your own. I'll leave the music going for a little bit. Good to see you. Make sure to... Which side is it on? I think it's over here. Click that button to subscribe and turn on notifications for when new classes are coming or new videos are uploaded. Thank you. Good to have you here.